coaches and collectors out there in the land of Bo Jackson Battle Arena. This is Frenchie coming to you from the ride to work. Me and CJ heading into the office, and I wanted to use this time to just record a quick bit to explain to you a little change that's coming with the Mahomes set. I had to make a decision yesterday. It's been weighing on me for the last week or so, and I have made the call that we will only have pink Battlefoils as secret one-of-ones going forward. It will mean that we will have the supers and the pink one-of-ones, and those will be our only secret one-of-ones. All of the other featured heroes in Hex, they will continue to be secret rares. They will be very rare, but they will not be one-of-ones. And just to be clear, there's no wink or nod here. We're not saying that they're not one-of-ones, but we're actually going to print them as one-of-ones. But because we didn't say they were, we've got some air cover in case something happens and an extra one pops up. That's not what we're saying. We're going to intentionally make them a multi-print card. One of the most compelling things that ultimately led me to the decision, we're willing to do things that are hard at Bo Jackson Battle Arena. We don't shy away from things that are difficult. We don't not do things because they're difficult. We do other things that are difficult, that the incremental juice, a lot of operators would say it's not worth that squeeze, and we should make it less difficult, get 90% of the value it creates for 50% of the effort. And that's a reasonable business decision. Tons of operators make decisions like that every day. We will do that extra 10% of the squeeze to get to the 100% on the product. We will do that. So someone could say, well, then why aren't you doing it here? The single biggest reason from an operational standpoint is that we can't control it. It's out of our control, and it's so unique and novel that the people that I'm asking to get it right, there's just so many opportunities for line workers to just screw this up. And you could say, well, just only print one of the cards. You can't. It doesn't work like that. We can unpack that. I won't sit here and bore you with it. There's a lot of reasons you can't just print one copy of a card. And once you print it more than once, there is a risk that that card shows up in circulation. So the fewer one-on-ones we have to deal with, the less risk there is of it happening. If the cards are marked, which everything but the pink Battlefoil it would be if we go supers and pink Battlefoils, we only have to worry about those unmarked pink Battlefoils. It lessens the likelihood of a mistake. But the thing that was the most compelling to me is that one of the things that we try to engineer for is what is the best EV we can put in the box for our community. And we try to estimate where we think the box is going to price and what we think the average value of that box will be if the market behaves the way we think the market's going to behave. And we want that to be significantly more than the price paid. We engineer for that. It's not perfect, doesn't always work. A lot of it has to do with what the singles market does, but that's what we engineer for. That's what we try to do. I am incredibly confident that if we increase the print run of the secret one-on-ones from 1 to a handful, the EV of the boxes will go up. Because, stay with me, if a $1,000 secret one-on-one exists today and you replaced it with, and I'm not saying this is the number, but I'll just throw it out. If you replaced it with 3 copies, if those 3 copies in the new set, instead of doing it as a one-on-one, you do it as out of 3. If those 3 cards are worth more than $333 each, you've added EV to the box. And my strong thesis is that on these secret one-on-ones, they're very desirable cards. And I believe there's elasticity in that market. There's a really good chance, we'll have to see what the market does, but there's a really good chance that the price only comes down a slight amount, and each of those cards may double, triple the amount of EV they add to the box. And so I feel really confident in that. I don't think a secret one-on-one that was $1,000, 200 power 7 ring, if we had printed that card to a 3, what are they? If they're $500 cards, then we've taken that EV from $1,000 spread across all the boxes for 1 copy and we've taken it to $1,500 spread across it all. So we've added that one card added a 50% EV improvement to the set as a whole. Again, these are hypothetical numbers. I'm not saying that these are that those are real prices, that's a real print. But what I'm saying is they're going to be they're going to be secret rares, and there's going to be a small handful of them. And I think that the EV will go up. So that was the most compelling thing that made me say, okay, in this instance, doing the easier thing really helps with a KPI that we try to engineer towards, which is giving good EV in the box. So that was ultimately the most compelling thing that pushed me over. There was a litany of other things. Then the single biggest fear factor playing into it is that we simply just can't control it. We are not allowed on the factory lines. Like we put controls in. We did that. We did it from the very beginning. Like this is something going back to the very beginning. Eric and I discussed the problem that Topps had with multiple superfractors. We discussed that before Alpha, and how, like, I remember the words, this can never happen. We can't ever let that happen. Well, guess what? It freaking happened. And it happened multiple times. It happened twice. And I'm just worried that we could make incremental control changes for the next set, but ultimately what happens on the other side of that wall, there's only so much we can do. So now autograph supers, those we only put the ink on one, so those were good. Even if they printed more, they would be blank. The non-auto 101s are at least marked, so people would know if they saw a sheet and said we need to reprint we need more cards to put in the product because something got messed up. We can't reprint that one. Those are the 101s. It sticks out more. It leaves only the pink Battlefoils, and so we can try to isolate that. We can work with the factory on a specific ticket for those. There are things we can do, hopefully, to make sure that this never happens again, and we can keep the pink Battlefoil as a secret 101. Why not stamp it? Reasonable people can disagree. Ultimately I have to make the call on this, and I like the fact that these can live on as the remnant of the secret 101s. And they were the one that was 101 for every character. The other secret 101s in Hex Weapon were only for the featured and highlighted heroes. So, you know, there was a learning curve there. The pink 101s, that learning curve's a lot more. Reasonable people could disagree. We discussed the possibility of putting 101 on the pink Battlefoils, and ultimately we decided not to. There were people in our own office that think we should. There were others that think we shouldn't. I was in the shouldn't camp, but I listened to all the voices, and this is the plan going forward. You know, anytime you come up with something and you see it work, you see it find market fit. Finding market fit as an entrepreneur is hard. And when you find things that have market fit, you don't want to give them back up. The 101s, the secret 101s had market fit. They achieved the goal of making people dive in, explore, learn more. But someone, I can't remember who it was, so I won't try to credit an individual team member, but somebody said yesterday, they said, Jeff, that's not going to change if it's a handful or a 101. They still have to do that same work. And I was like, you're right, they do. It may lead them to a slightly different result. It's not 101, but it's really, really rare. And it's really, these are hex, they're powerful. They would be the featured heroes that we're talking about specifically. So they're all pretty powerful cards. So that need to investigate and explore, it is not diminished. The EV of the boxes, strong thesis that it will be a net positive to EV. The boxes as a whole, because of these incremental cards, will deliver better value to the collectors. It will let more people have a chance to own their favorite hero in a hex weapon. There's a lot of positives. The big downside would be that when you pull it, I got a 101. Like, there's something about that. A lot of us have never pulled 101s. Boba had more 101s, gave more people a chance to hit one. That was really cool. There are other products out there that over 101 things. They build like every card. They use digital printing and randomization of backgrounds and stuff to make whole sets of all 101s. And that's too much. When every card's like that, nothing special. I think we had a good balance there. So I do lament the end of the Secret 101 era. outside of the pink Battlefoils. So yeah, I'm a little bit sad about it, but I think it's the right decision. The decision now has been made, been sent to the factory, so there's no reversing it. Um, the job is in, and I think it's the right thing to do. I feel at peace with the decision. There are elements of it I don't like, but those are more like my a bit of pride of authorship, right? I think is my main thing is in this one. And I try to step back when I have that, we're all human. And when we come up with something and we believe in it, sometimes we'll defend it maybe more than we should. And good entrepreneurs know when to back off, when not to let their pride of authorship get in the way. And I'm not saying I'm a good entrepreneur, but I try to learn from good entrepreneurs. And I definitely should, in all things, work hard to not let pride of authorship get in the way of making the right call. And when I look at this one, there's a lot that outweighs keeping them, tilts it to the other side. And it really was a pretty, when you really kind of spend hours like we did as a small group, really beating on this to try to make sure we make the right call, the answer was really obvious, actually. Like there was so much stacked onto the side of make the change, keep them secret rare, get rid of the secret 101. There was a lot stacked to that side. And so it's, I feel really confident in the decision. I'm not going to pretend that I don't miss the idea of having the 101s in our product, the secret 101s, but I am confident that it's going to make our product better. It'll lower the risk of what is a really, really bad mistake. Like that, I'm not going to sugarcoat. Having multiple 101s in a product sucks. It sucked when it happened the first time. It really sucked when it happened the second time. And yeah, but I feel really good about the decision. I hope some of you, I know some of you will probably be like, yeah, this is great. Some of you probably won't be happy with it because you love the idea. You've hit one of those. You felt that emotion of hitting one. You felt that pride of knowing that that was 101 and it's yours and nobody else has one. And it makes it more special and it makes you want to own it more. And that's why I don't think that the handful of cards will trade exactly the same as the 101s. They don't have as much of that effect that a 101 would have. So I do think the price per card will come down, but the thesis is the price will not come down percentage wise more than the number of incremental cards we add, and therefore it will be a net positive to EV in the Mahomes product, expected value when you rip a box. And that EV is something that we work to create a framework that gives the market a good value. Boba is not a cheap product, but I do believe it is the best value on the market. You can go buy a lot of stuff that's cheaper, but I would say that none of that stuff comes close to delivering the value that Bo Jackson Battle Arena delivers. There's a lot of stuff more expensive than Bo Jackson Battle Arena that doesn't deliver the value on a box per box basis that Bo Jackson Battle Arena delivers. And we're going to try to very hard to keep engineering for that. That's very important to us. And that comes down to managing print run size relative to demand and delivering good value to our coaches and our collectors. And at the same time, doing enough to help us grow the franchise, because growth is important too. So it becomes a balance in that. And the secret 101s, they were fun while they lasted. And you know, it's time to turn the page on that. And we've got a lot of other fun things coming for you that are going to help replace maybe some of the lost energy you would get from pulling that 101. There's going to be other great stuff for you to hit. We're going to keep pushing the envelope on the product. We're going to be fearless. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to own up to them when we do. But I don't want to make a 101 duplicate mistake again. And that, coupled with all of the positives that come with having this be a small handful of cards instead of a one-on-one card, I think greatly outweigh the other side. So, yep, that's all we got today, and I'll talk to you all again soon.